Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 363. I'm Phil Graham. Today, I've got a really important episode for you guys. I'm going to be talking about 4 costly and overlooked Facebook ad mistakes that you definitely want to avoid. You guys, I can't believe that it's already April 23rd. That is crazy. I hope you guys are doing really well. It's almost summer. The year is flying by, but I'm super excited to be here with you guys today because there's lots of mistakes that people make with ads. I mean, there's hundreds. And I've talked about common ones. Today, these 4 mistakes I'm going to talk about are very common, but some of these are really overlooked and they don't really get talked about enough. And they are so costly that we really need to focus on this because it's so important. So these mistakes are more under the radar, but still really common and again, really costly, and they can really mess up your ads. Before we cover the 4 mistakes, if you guys are looking for any one-on-one coaching to learn ads the right way, or if you're looking for somebody to run your ads for you, not just on Facebook, but other platforms as well. For either one of those things, you can go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I would love to connect with you. Let's jump right into the content, my friends. Number 1, big, costly, overlooked mistake is not leveraging data breakdowns. Okay, data is huge. It's a huge indicator of whether you will potentially fail or succeed. And one of the things I love about data is the section where you can do breakdowns to see what's going on. And you can break it down by various ways. Number 1, I really like age and gender. So for example, you're running ads, you can see by age and gender, who's doing what, who's clicking, who's not, how much it costs to get a customer in some cases, by ages and gender. That can open your eyes to so many possibilities because there's times where I do this and it might say, ages 45 and above, we're getting customers for $12. And below that, we're getting customers for $37. Well, that's a huge thing to know if that's what's happening, or vice versa, right? If you're getting customers really inexpensively at a low age range, but not at a high age range, or a lot of males are buying and females aren't, or vice versa. It can give you so much information. So you can do these breakdowns from every single one of your ads and see who's clicking, who's not. How much is it costing to get a click from male versus female, from a certain age versus a different age? Can you see how that could benefit you guys? That can be huge. That's a great one. Age and gender. There's all kinds of other ones. There's what platform they're on. There's, maybe like Facebook is doing great for you, but Instagram isn't. Or maybe Instagram is, but Facebook isn't. Yet you might be spending a big percentage of your money on the one that's not doing well. Placement is another breakdown you can do. I've seen situations where the normal Facebook feed was doing amazing, but other placements weren't. Or maybe Instagram stories are crushing it for you and something else isn't. Just knowing that can make a huge difference. A lot of times in our targeting, we're going to use all placements and all platforms. But when I find something in the data that is really interesting, that shows me that something is underperforming or overperforming, like by a big margin, I might run a test ad specifically to that age or gender or platform or placement, etc. And sometimes that can just do amazing. So this is really important stuff to know. You can also do a data breakdown and find out like what time of day people are taking action the most, what device they're converting on. So when you have a conversion, is it typically on a phone or an iPad or a computer? And then also what region they're in, whether it's country or even state if you're in the US. So not leveraging these data breakdowns would be a huge costly mistake. I recommend you guys definitely do that because knowing this stuff is like gold. The number two mistake is ignoring ad frequency. Ad fatigue is definitely a thing. So if somebody sees your ad 10, 15, 20 times and they're seeing the exact same ad, that's usually not going to be good. Now, there are times when I would let that run if it continues to work. But in general, you want to look at your ad frequency and make sure people are not seeing the exact same ad over and over and over again forever. You would want to either change your audience or change your creative when that happens. So make sure you guys pay attention to that. You can see that in the ad set tab for every single ad you run. It's really important. Number three, another costly mistake people make is ignoring ad metrics besides the obvious ones. Like obviously everybody looks at how much does it cost to get a customer or a lead? What's our return on ad spend? Everybody looks at that. But if you ignore other important ad metrics, that could be very costly. That could really hurt you. Some of the ad metrics that are super important are link click-through rate, cost per click, and also CPM, which essentially is like the cost of running your ads. And then I would say to a lesser extent, engagement you're getting on your ads, not as big of a deal, but still important. But if you ignore those, that could really hurt you. And here's why. There's so many times where we'll have a successful ad that does really well, but at first it didn't. It had to take time to find the right audience and really start kicking in. Early on, some of these other metrics like click-through rate and cost per click and CPM can help us know if we're on the right track before we're getting leads and sales. It's like knowing you're on the right way to your destination. You can see on Google Maps that you're going the right direction. You're going to be there in 10 minutes. You're not just going to magically end up there. You're going to end up there because you know you're on the right path. These data metrics can help you know if you're on the right path. Now, they're not exact. Sometimes you can have a good click-through rate and good cost per click, and it still might not work. That's where your skill comes in, and then doing a test and changing things. But if you ignore those things and you only look at cost per lead or conversions or return on ad spend, especially early on, then you're definitely shooting yourself in the foot. You want to make sure you pay attention to all these important metrics because they can make a big difference. When you're in Ads Manager, also, do not make the mistake of looking at click-through rate all or link click-through rate all or cost per click all. When it says all, that would include like likes and comments and shares. So you want to make sure you're looking at link click-through rate and link cost per click. And last but not least, number 4, this one should be obvious, but it still blows my mind that so many people make this mistake, is they don't optimize efficiently for mobile devices, both with their ad and their landing page or sales page, wherever your ad is pointing to. It is crazy how often I see this. Most people are going to look at your stuff on a phone, and I see bad optimized landing pages all the time. And part of a poorly optimized landing page would be no credibility or trust on that page. Loading slow is a big one. That's one of the most common things I see is a page that loads really slow. That's just going to probably kill your results in most situations. So you want to have a fast loading page. Also, you want to make sure your page looks great on mobile. It could look amazing on desktop, but if it doesn't look great on mobile, you're probably not going to make money. It's going to be tough. Make sure it looks perfect on mobile and good on desktop. Make sure, I've seen so many times where like a form didn't show up right or didn't even work on mobile, even though it did on the desktop. That's crazy. Make sure that your pages are not too distracting. Make sure there's not like too many choices on the page, and make sure it doesn't look spammy. If you do those things, that will help you optimize it, especially for mobile devices, which most people will use. So my friends, these 4 things are really important. Make sure you are using and leveraging data breakdowns. Make sure that you're paying attention to your ad frequency and you're using ad metrics besides the obvious ones, but you're looking at the other ones that are super important, and that you are optimizing both your ads and your landing pages and sales pages. for mobile devices. And that should be a huge game changer for you guys. All right, episode 363 is in the books. I've got a great episode coming up for you guys next week. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to connect, my website is philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I'll talk to you next week. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.